plays. I think this is definitely a winnable series or winnable game here for AZE. Their first that they need to win so desperately here in the first round robin.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go into the final day of your games 0-3, so certainly it is a very, extremely important game here for AZE just to give themselves a decent shot to potentially challenge DFM for that second place spot. I think we all have T1 right now at first place, especially based on how they've gone. But let's jump into the draft right away, and let's see what we go with. So no Lucian, no Gwen here. Team AZE, they saw that last game. They're like, oh, okay, not that. Anything but that. And that's what they'll start with.
See if Froggy gets his Ahri, because that's been a really pivotal pick for him. And of course, they do have blue side first pick priority here. So I think AZE will have to take that one away. And there it is, off the board, straight up. So will the focal point once again be in the bottom 2v2? The Lucian is removed, so that's not a pick you can go to early on. But Saigon Buffalo in some ways pushed out of their comfort zone a little bit here. Not gonna let the Ahri through, not gonna let the Lucian through. Gwen for the top side. It will be Twisted Fate instead, the pick up here for Froggy. Another pick he's very well known for. We'll be able to use that to set the tempo of the game, because again, Saigon Buffalo's early game, they go, go, go. Like, there are no brakes on this train with knives, okay?
Yeah, I mean, why would you have brakes on that thing? You need maximum potential. But yeah, the TF will be met with the Galio, and Camille is still available, so if teammates want to go for something like that, they could straight from the get-go. TF Camille, also a combo that can get a lot of side laning done. It's not necessarily Saigon's play style, but could be noted, as we are going to see Jarvan instead. So the Jarvan comes through. No look at the Camille just yet.
A lot of kill pressure potentially in that mid lane too with the Galio Jarvan here.
Yeah.
Galio could be a flex pick, but very likely will be played by Alone there in the mid lane.
It's still an insane combo, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking a lot about Camille, but you know, it's still Jarvan Galio, right? You get someone and they can't escape, and then you come right over the top.
It's almost, I mean, it's almost exactly the same style. Now, I do like this Kindred response here to come through. And maybe a little bit of a PTSD for AZE seeing that pick come through as well, you know, after what happened earlier on. They'll take the Camille themselves here. And Camille Twisted Fate is also an extremely strong combo to control the top side of the map. That won't be as easy when you have a global Galio to follow you. This is part of the reason why you see Galio into Twisted Fate. You often see the Silas into the Twisted Fate. But the Camille is basically saying Saigon Buffalo are ready to double down on this idea and almost outdo AZE at the Galio Jarvan style.
It's pretty interesting because we've seen even some of the tippy-top teams at the LCK, you know, which is the region that you and I cast, Wolf, they have struggled to perform the macro style that you have to perform with a combo like TF Camille. It is very difficult. It is not a, we're going to press our ultimate buttons and try to kill you in a 5v5. It is, we're going to try to pull you apart. We're going to try to play side lanes. And again, I'm curious to see if Saigon can actually pull it off, because it is not easy for many teams.
And it is not a style that Saigon Buffalo, like with the Camille side laning, for example, that they've shown us really executed well so far this tournament, which was the point I was making earlier, is you might run into a macro problem. Now, I personally really disagree with this Gnar pick here at this stage of the draft, because you've now put a champion into this Camille that can easily be blown up by the Camille Twisted Fate. A champion that's easily gankable, is based on his Gnar bar, is always going to have timings he has to find for the Galio to actually allow him to make impactful ganks. So you're basically playing the game on hard mode with this one. And very much so, I think they're going to have to pivot to a more team fight focused draft here in the later stages.
Well, we see no 80 carries picked and already a bunch banned on both sides. So no Xayah, no Ezreal, which are very safe picks. And then on the other side, no Kalista Tristana.
So both teams are banning the 80 carries that suit the composition, and Saigon Buffalo have identified that this is going to be a pivot to a more late game scaling potentially. Ezreal, who's very much able to escape from the aggression that you'll see from the Camille, can poke away when the Kindred ultimate goes down, then finish off that damage. So very terrifying late game. And then obviously the Xayah that can ult away from the Camille is another great pick. So you're removing the safety there. Do like to see that a lot. Of course, on the other side here, we will now have the Misfortune. Not as much a scaling champion as the Ezreal or the crit Xayah can be, but combos though, they're going back, pivoting back again. You took away the Xayah, you took the Ezreal. We're going to set up this Cataclysm Galio combo, and we are going to bullet time on top of it.
And take a look at this. I mean, with all the 80 carries off the board, they just say, okay, Will Ziggs can go down there, can handle that lane against the MF just fine. And if you are out of range of all of the combo that Team AZE have, you can throw your Super Mega Death Bomb on top of the Camille Hextech Ultimate and stuff like that. So definitely very combo-y on the side of SGB as well, with some survivability elements.
There is a possibility to build very tanky into the Ziggs and have a strong front line with this Jarvan, of course, and the Galio to make it difficult for the Ziggs to have follow-up damage outside of his ultimate in team fights like this. What you're going to lose with this pick is a lot of sustained damage in these longer team fights. It doesn't work as well around Kindred's ultimate, but she's going to have that range damage. So in a way, she kind of shores up some of Ziggs' weaknesses because she is herself somewhat of an AD carry in these later fights. Renata going to come in here, I think, in part due to the fact that they have to deal with the insane Ziggs push. She helps clear the wave pretty well. She's going to be able to stave off of some of that pressure. But this draft really swung back and forth several times, and what we ended up with at the end of the day is what is going to be an extremely high kill game. I think it is going to be extremely brawly. It is going to be non-stop action. It's going to be a high kill game. It's going to be all about combos. Who sets it up better? When does the Hextech ultimatum come down? Does the Gnar bar, is it timed correctly? This is what I was saying earlier, very difficult to pull this off, whereas Hazmed, he presses R, his ult goes off, the combo goes down, the Ziggs bomb goes through. Lonely, he's gonna have to manage his Gnar bar, he's gonna have to position himself well, he's gonna have to try to flank. These things are very complicated to pull off, but arguably can be more impactful if he can do it. And this game is going to be so exciting. This might be the best game of the night so far. Yeah,
I mean, it's really cool just going from the drafts and knowing the way the play styles of these two teams. I think we could have a really fiery game. Also feel like, you know, Saigon Buffalo, if they played it really just with a lot of finesse. There are so many ways to abuse side lane pressure. There are so many ways to use the Ziggs for wave clear and say, no, we're not going to fight you. We're just going to sit back. Kindred's going to slowly build up stacks. Camille's going to be split pushing. TF's going to be right there with her potentially, or in the other lane. Just a lot of ways to really take over the map in that way. Whereas Team AZE definitely, you know, 5-man fights there, they might just destroy you. You know, even the Renata Berserk, you have the Camille running into you, have the Kindred in front of you, the Leona, a lot of targets for Straight to be very annoying with that Renata Glass against. And yeah, this is going to be just an awesome game. You can tell from the drafts.
The Renata Glass ultimate as well, layered on top of all this, is just, it's pretty brutal. As Atlas would put it, there's a lot of circles here. There's a lot of wombo combo setups.
Yes.
It is going to be a game of AoE, CCs, and follow-up damages. Like, between the bullet time from 5Kid, Shogun's ultimate as well. Like, the sparks are going to fly when we hit those mid-game fights.
Yeah.
But obviously, for the time being, of course, you know, we are seeing a ward placed here so they can track Dimitri's pathing.
And by the way, guys, we do have our featured matchup, Mercedes matchup here. We do have T1 up against Detonation Focus Me in the next matchup. So presented by Mercedes-Benz, Zeus versus Evie. Definitely do not want to miss this. It is going to be a sick top lane matchup and just a great game in general.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to talk about it too much because we're going to cast it later, but I am very excited to see if Zeus doesn't get to go up against his Urgot there in the top lane. Really exciting to watch. Might be banned away. We'll get to that later. Froggy, mentioned it before, really likes Twisted Fate, very proficient on the champion. And, you know, in this early laning phase, can put off some harass, can be very annoying into the Gallios. Taki's going in and going out. I had to do the color caster thing where I'm like, in case, just in case, fellas, I'm giving you the keys to the microphone here.
We've seen this happen before. Now, look at this pathing from Dimitri. He went from red to bot. Okay? He is ready to party, okay?
Level 2.
Calling out to all you party people out there. He is getting in. As Dimitri, level 2, they have been fully baited here. Level 2 is hit by the bottom lane of Saigon, but it does not matter. As trying to hand that kill over, but no, it is just going to be Dimitri who does pick it up with the cheese gank. It does work.
Yeah, no, they don't give the kill over to 5Kid, unfortunately, but because he's Ziggs, will be able to teleport straight back to the lane. It's still picking up a kill for Dimitri. It's going to make his follow-up ganks a lot more powerful. But this is the kind of move that makes me feel AZE have a really good understanding of their opponents. They prepare well for games like this and have set plays that have been extremely successful in the 2v2s. Taki once again
It's a lot of damage that does go into 5Kid, but unfortunately the satchel knocked 5Kid away.
Yeah.
So not really going to end up doing much. Now they do see BJ coming in here, but of course there's not really much that Alone and Dimitri can do to stop this. I think that this is what you trade off with. If you do go for this cheese gank, you have to give up some of your jungle. Dimitri will fall behind in some of the farm. And so BJ, we could see him getting very nicely well-fed from the early parts of this jungle.
Yeah, picking up marks early too will be something he's looking to do so he can get that range later on. So right now, Lonely, a bit far away from his turret. The wave is in a really nice spot here for Hazmed because of where Bean's pathed here. Just looking for the slow with the sweep. I don't think they could quite commit to this. A little bit of extra respect there shown from Lonely. If it's back towards the turret, they'll be able to grab this scuttle. So this is a really aggressive style of gameplay we're seeing from both junglers, kind of threatening lanes, not committing necessarily. Dimitri got that early kill, lost some on the farm, as you mentioned. But you can see both teams are respecting the fact that this game could open up at any moment. And so the observers are showing like, okay, it's almost a moment, but it's not going to end up being one because it's just so tense the way this game could shift on a nice edge in the early parts of it before we even get to that Wombo style later on.
Meganar's coming in here. Hazmed will dodge that and will be just fine. But yeah, you do have to wonder, right? Because Dimitri did go for such a risky play. It did pay off with the kill, but Ziggs with teleport says, okay, I mean, I died and the Jarvan got first blood, but I just go back to farming like the bottom lane gank never even happened. So he's totally fine there. And now take a look at the jungle difference in favor of Saigon. BJ is very far ahead in terms of that CS. He picked up that first mark extremely early, right on the spawn. So you gotta wonder, is it worth it in the end? We'll see.
He's got a sweeper here. They're trying to bait this one out. Only very far forward this time. Of course, it is Kindred, so very difficult to set this one up. In terms of your CC, you're very limited, let's say.
Okay,
Going for the sweep.
Nope. Not quite.
Oh, hook shot not gonna land there. It's like so forced actually, but
yeah.
Only showing the respect.
Oh, he's flashing. He's going for it. I don't know if it's gonna work. It's not, but you know, he went for it. Okay.
He definitely did, and you know what? There was definitely some miscommunication there. The wave is now crashed, but he's flashless. And you know what? The biggest winner of this is Dimitri, because he's like, all right, that was weird. He's up there, he's flashing for the gank, but doesn't do anything. I'm going to go ahead and take away all of his jungle. So this is actually a huge win for him. It's going to really narrow the gap in terms of the camp clears that he was very far behind and will be able to take their Krugs away. Actually has a really nice opportunity, in fact, here down on the bottom side.
See if this works out. We still have flash available, and teleport is going to be used. And here comes Froggy as well. They're trying to turn this one. Do they have the damage? Huge satchel is going to get Dimitri into the back line, and he will be going down. Give that kill over to Froggy as a really nice turn comes in from Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, really nicely played. Froggy comes over immediately, set this one up, and just don't have at this stage of the game enough damage. You have a little bit of CC, obviously, with this Jarvan pick, but it wasn't set up with Alone. Flash again.
I don't know about this one. They have that Ignite ticking, but the damage is coming through. 5Kid and Shogun will go down at exactly the same time with only the supports left to fight. Here comes Alone. He does have the Predator on this Galio. They're trying to get on top of BJ and take him out, and they should be able to quite easily. Last hit will come over to Straight, unfortunately, as he is now 2-0-1.
Yeah, that's the really unfortunate part about this is the Renata is actually the one with the bounty here. So not only do you have the 2 kills on the Renata, and she's not giving any of that extra gold over the big gold to the Misfortune, but also she has a bounty on her head right now. She's a fragile champion. She gets picked. That also is going to be, it's much easier to pick her off in some of these upcoming mid-game fights. Not a good thing. I really like the turn here from Taki. They set this one up. The teleport's coming through from Camille as well, but it's really the Twisted Fate that's the most important part of this. And look at Galio. The rotation is so extremely slow here on the side of AZE that he's just not able to do anything. He doesn't actually commit to his ult, goes back at the first part of this, because if he matches the Twisted Fate rotation, which is the reason why they picked the Galio in the initial part of this draft, then things go a lot better. So obviously we do have this trade here. Better trade for Shogun. He picks up the kill, getting that Ziggs online. Where's the kill going into the Renata? Not as impactful.
Yeah, at least able to pick up an extra one here, as this is going to be the second mark that is picked up by BJ at this point in time. Has not been able to kill Dimitri, so he does not have that champion mark just yet. But he's looking to get aggressive at least, as we have another fight down on the bottom side. That That last bomb would have done it, and there's that kill, actually. Another mark going to be picked up here for BJ as it is traded back, and the action is just non-stop in this game as Alone will be taken out. Froggy with the red buff, enjoying his time. No Meganar here. Is Lonely next.
Yeah, I mean, they're committing right over to him as Meganar's gone.
He does flash away, and he has the hop as well, so it will be enough to get him out of dodge, but had to use his flash.
It's just once again one of these moments for AZE where the communication seems to be very split. Lonely's not coming over even though he has his Meganar bar, and it's a selfish choice because he wants to catch the wave that's crashing into his turret. Committing.
Diving this, he has the ignite, and this should be enough. The second Q comes through, the thumbs up will come in as well.
There's not much you can do about this one. You can't give that wave up. You have no hop anymore. You had to flash earlier. Really nice play from Hazmat to follow. Dimitri's going to try to catch him on the recall.
He should be in that brush as he is going to be spotted now. Dodges the flag and drag. The hook shot available as just hit level 6 actually is Dimitri, but just barely not in range.
And he knows BJ is very likely nearby.
Oh no, this is potentially a dead Jarvan. The slow is going to come through. One more hop, and here comes TF as Froggy will be the one to scoop that kill. And more action, of course, in the bottom lane as the sun comes in to stop the bullet time, and Shogun gonna pick up another kill.
This is a play-by-play caster's dream.
Oh boy.
11 kills in 9 minutes here. I said it was going to be bloody, but I was mostly talking about some of these 5v5 team fights with the combos and some of the setups there, but this early game has been so bloody because the junglers have been so involved in the bottom and top lanes, but it's also double global mid laners here. And once again, AZE a little bit slower on the play. And I said earlier, I thought their vision and their late game control of the map was really good, but they are being outclassed in the early parts.
Okay. BJ, he's being chased down here. He was able to sneak that Rift Herald as he will flash the wall and get to safety. Froggy, he's trying to help out as actually Dimitri traps himself in the own Cataclysm as now the stopwatch will get so much value. Froggy's still alive as he has the Kindred ultimate on the backside of that, and this is just going all wrong for Team AZE. Saigon, Buffalo are cleaning up.
A scrappy game. Valdez, is what we are watching right now, and Team AZE seems so desperate to force these fights to go in their favor. They had the opportunity in the draft to pivot to a scaling bot laner and try to play a little bit slower, move away from this. We're not done yet. I'll make a point after this. Rift Herald's going to crash down. Straight's coming over here. I'm a little bit worried, but they do walk away. They do respect it. They had an opportunity to change up their draft. They did not. They went into Saigon Buffalo's hands here. And Saigon Buffalo is the better team at these scrappy early games. They picked a Gnar into the Camille. Lonely gets picked twice. This is exactly what I was talking about in the draft. This is a champion that needs his Gnar bar to survive these moments. He hasn't been able to do so. His jungler hasn't always been on the same page. They've been a little bit disjointed. And this is going to happen very likely again.
Lonely might be okay. He's got some help coming in, but he just gets chunked so fast, and Alone is just 5 seconds. 5 seconds away from that ultimate to potentially save him as Dimitri going to miss the flag and dragon now. Again, 0-3 on the Gnar, not able to side lane against this amount of pressure from the side of Saigon.
There's a term, a colloquial term we use in the LCK for this. We call it the orange buff. When the jungler comes up on spawn rotation and picks up the orange buff, and we will have the Everfrost, of course, picked up here, the MasterCard Mythic for Froggy, but Camille Twisted Fate is the duo that you and I actually coined the term orange buff for against Gnar because it's just so easy to pull this off, and that's why I really didn't like the pick in that game. And then you also went into this Galio with the misfortune in the game like this, and so you've not gone towards late game team fighting with a Gnar type front to back team fight style. And I mean, this draft was a little bit all over the place. Didn't know how well Saigon Buffalo was going to be able to punish it, but with the lack of coordination that AZE is showing in this early game, I mean, this game is almost over because we're talking about late game Ziggs, we're talking about Camille side laning.
Remember when I said, like, Saigon have so much room to play with so much finesse and, you know, come out here and play side lanes? They were like playing a concerto on the violin. They took their violin and just began smashing the audience with it over their heads, quite literally, because they don't need to play with finesse. They just actually smack them down in the early game. And now they have a 5,000 gold lead at 12 minutes. They're using that Ziggs and his turret taking power so well. They're able to take down the mid turret at 11 minutes. There's 2 plates that are already down in the top side. And if they group up, it looks like they want to fight over this Hextech Drake. They don't even necessarily need to. They could probably just go top and take another turret if they wanted to. But it looks like they will prioritize the Drake instead.
Well, unfortunately for AZE, they just don't have the power at this stage to actually fight for this. I mean, it's a lethality misfortune into a team that has full choke point control. This is a Ziggs comp. He could put his satchel charge down, he could put his bombs down there. You can't walk into that. Galio's not going to be eating all that damage. You could then take the Drake, go grab your mark on your way up as your bean, get your third one of the game, and look for a gank topside. You're baiting the sun out.
Yeah, I mean, who's baiting who? Right? Because now Hazmat is up 2 levels and he still has Ignite as, oh boy.
This is not a hell game.
Not a very fun game for the orange buff, we could say, in this one. As this is what I was talking about. They get the Drake and now they'll just go top and take it.
Yep, they're going to the Drake, go top and take it. Everyone's going to be pushed back. They're winning bottom side here. Galio is going to get the taunt off, but he doesn't win that one.
It's another turret.
And
so 10 plates now gone and taken by Saigon Buffalo as they actually got another one on the bottom side too, so make that 11. As Froggy just gonna throw up the Saigon Buffalo emotes and get out of there. No harm, no foul.
3-0 and 3 on the Twisted Fate, who's got 7 Dark Seal stacks. That's not something you see every day, but you know, when you're this far ahead, you're this dominant, you're picking it up early, you're in a fantastic spot. His acceleration to the rapid fire cannon is so quick that not even Misfortune is safe. The Gnar is going to be vulnerable in these moments in 5v5 fights that AZE, frankly, are not taking. They're still trying to look for these scrappy fights around turret. They're trying to punish these movements around the map. But because they're so far behind at this point, there are very little opportunities. And when you have champions like Ziggs, like Camille, that could sit in a side lane and make your life hell so easily when they're ahead like this, it's just hard to play the game.
Not like this. Not like this. Okay, I mean, he gets a nice little Gnar ult and actually will be able to flash away, so will not be like this, as everybody on Team AZE is here. Everybody is looking to take the fight. The Berserk comes out and nobody gets caught by it. The re-engage comes in from the side of Saigon and a massive bomb over the top, as now we do have a little bit of trouble there for the side of Hazmat, but he is the only one that was in trouble, and the rest of them will just be slaughtered underneath just everybody and all the golds.
All right, so Valdez, you remember I made a statement on our side. I think I would argue AZE is the better macro team. We didn't go to a game where, I'm talking about late game macro, of course, vision control. We didn't go to a game where we got to see that. But I'm going to have to take that one back, unfortunately, this game. Based on what we're seeing, based on the lack of coordination, perhaps some nerves here, but AZE are not playing this game in terms of controlling how they're going to rotate, where teleport cooldowns are, etc., as well as they have in their previous losses, in fact. And, you know, plays like this where you try to commit everybody on top side there to save a Gnar who's just trying to survive and farm under turret means you put yourself open to a Camille to just teleport on top of you. They want to take that fight. They're absolutely looking for it. You're going to avoid it.
Yep, that's the end-to-end. And, you know, we talked about the TF and how far ahead he is. BJ now has 5 marks on this Kindred already, 15 minutes into the game. And, yeah, this might just be a formality at this point, guys. I mean, there's not too much else to say. They're just taking every turret on the map. I love the tempo that Saigon Buffalo are playing with. And, I mean, this is what you love to see out of our Vietnamese team.
You see it all the time when Ziggs has a lead. You know, he could push so quickly. You just group up as 5. You take turrets off the map surgically, one after the other, while just tossing out your abilities. You're just Q, 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 Q. Yep. You have your Leandri's burn damage coming through. You're so far ahead in levels that one Q takes out half the health bars of almost anybody. You ult, you force a flash, you ult, you might kill the enemy AD carry straight up if she's not at full health. And soon, even if she is. So it's just an oppressive style, one that AZE needed to prevent. And then we could talk about the Galio combos with bullet time, then we could talk about the Gnar bars, then we could talk about all these other things, but it ended so quickly. Saigon Buffalo controlled it so well that this is not really even a game anymore.
Yeah. Again, just I think that Saigon Buffalo were just better at responding to some of those early game tempo plays, and the second they got ahead, it was like a non-stop freight train with knives on it and needles attached to the tips of the knives. Really impressive stuff from them. Now 12,000 gold ahead, and Team AZE, they're not giving up without a fight, that is to say. We have seen teams in the past just kind of get this far behind and then try to go for a turtle and look for the super late game, but Team AZE still looking for some of the fights. Not sure if that's going to work out for him. We were talking about the Dark Seal. We do have the Magi's finished already here for Froggy, who is really enjoying this game.
He's building Lich Bane as well, just to add insult to injury. And I mean, the freight train is now like a bullet train, but it's also got like a space shuttle's worth of rockets on the back of it, so to help it go at the maximum amount of speed. It's a 12,000 gold lead pre-20 minutes, pre-18 minutes we are looking at here.
Yeah, Saigon are like, yeah, we see you, T1. Maybe we can outdo you. And
remember they played the Kindred?
They played the Kindred, and now I think they're actually challenging for most dominant games so far at MSI. As 5Kid is not going to be saying 5-head after this one.
He's
just
exactly
going to run away.
You bomb the misfortune. She can't be anywhere near this.
He doesn't get to play the game, unfortunately, as that is going to be the end of straight. Hazmed over the top is going to take down 5Kid. Meanwhile, we have Rift Herald in the bottom lane. So just basically pushing everything as the stun will come in. Maybe Hazmed just a little bit over the top there. Maybe didn't have to dive into 5 of them.
But you know, he's going to get a Rift Herald charge onto an Nexus turret, so it's okay. Oh, the Galio going to miss. There's the charge.
Yeah. Well, it's not looking too good here for Team AZE, unfortunately. Saigon Buffalo going to be coming through with an insanely dominant victory. We'll see if they end the game here, or if they will show a little bit of...
Valdez, they ended the game a few minutes ago, in fact.
Oh, sorry.
But the Nexus hasn't fallen yet. Yeah, that's the part where the victory screen goes up. But I do want to kind of bring this back to a more real setting here because, you know, like I said, like we've been discussing, this game will end in the next 5 minutes or so. But this is a really rough loss for AZE. This is a game that was basically a must-win for them. They're 0-2 at the end of the, and now going 0-3 at the end of this first round robin. Makes it extremely difficult because this group is essentially a 3-person group, like Group C, except you have less chances and only one person gets out, not 2. And, you know, losing like this, when you have DFM in your group, you have Saigon Buffalo in your group, it's almost like this loss right here means they're not getting out of the group. Now, technically, there is still a chance, of course, but given expectations based on what we've seen so far, it seems extremely unlikely.
Yeah, Beam J just going ahead and collecting the orange buff before he does continue on with the rest of this game. I think he did get his 7th mark there as well. Froggy just going to flash away from this one. We finally do see nice little combo coming in. They do get that immobile, awesome dude in the bottom side as Hazmed is just casually taking down the Nexus turret and just waiting for his slower teammates to catch up and join him on the onslaught.
Just a quick little teleport back in. The minions are coming. And AZE know this one, unfortunately, is doomed.
Yep, that's going to do it for this one, guys, as we do have Hazmed once again hookshotting in and looking for more. Will they collect their KDA or will they just end the game? They will just end the game. Down goes the Nexus. Saigon Buffalo with an insanely dominant victory over Team AZE, and now they are 2-1 in Group A.
Chug it, that game was so fast, it was so quick, there was non-stop action, there was not even room to breathe. And I think that shot we just had with the coffee cup there, and finishing it is like, oh, I could actually take a rest for a second because there was no slowdown for even one moment in that game. For Team AZE, a tragic loss because this was the must-win game. This was the game you needed so badly. This was your most realistic chance to get some momentum in this group because you'll get a second chance of this, but it's going to be at the end when your tournament chances might be done by then even. And the rest of this group is tough. And this group in general is filled with extremely early game focused teams. DFM, love that early game. They're dominant in the region for that reason. T1, most dominant early game team in the world right now.
Even though they're dominant at all stages of the game.
And then Saigon Buffalo as well. They're the team that's going to make the aggressive plays. They're going to flash on you. They're going to take risks. And we just saw, you know,